Florida is recognized for 2 minutes.
If House Democrats were so worried about violence, they wouldn't open the borders, open the prisons, and then disarm law-abiding Americans who want to protect themselves and protect their families. Chairman Nadler says that Republicans shouldn't lecture about constitutional rights, but it was the last Democrat speaker, Mr. Cicilline, who in the House Judiciary Committee said, "Spare me the bullshit about people's constitutional rights." So pardon us for standing up for the Constitution and the very due process that ensures that we're able to have a civil functioning society in this country. Speaker Pelosi asks the question, well, if you knew when the next act of violence would be, why wouldn't you want to stop it? What is this, the United States Congress or the plot for the movie Minority Report? The best you could ever hope to have in terms of warning is what we had in the Parkland case, where a neighbor saw Nicholas Cruz preparing for a school shooting, called the FBI, and because they were so focused on the bureaucracy, they didn't take action. And so that's why I'm against federalizing the regular police, and it's why I'm against federalizing the school police, because the more the FBI was involved, the more they botched the case, and maybe there were people dead who didn't need to be. These red flag laws violate our Second Amendment rights, our Fifth Amendment rights, and when they are done at the national level, they violate our 10th Amendment rights. And it is crazy that we are considering legislation to bribe the states to take rights away from our fellow Americans. And it's nuts that Republicans in the Senate, the very Republicans who say they're the classic liberty-minded conservatives, they're now working with Democrats on this very endeavor to federalize the school police and to engage in this bribery for the sake of deprivation of rights. Let me give you this warning, my friends. It is no victory, as Mr. 𝐷𝐔𝐈𝐋𝐈𝐋𝐄𝐒 said, that in my beloved Florida, we've used red flag laws 8,000 times. There weren't 8,000 school shooters we stopped, probably not even 8,000 criminals. What we do see is that these red flag laws are used in divorce proceedings. They're used in every type of dispute, and it shouldn't be a cudgel that way. We'll stand up for the rights, and it's no bullshit that we will.
Members are reminded not to use profanity on the floor of the House of Representatives.
Reserve.
The gentleman reserves.
Well done.
Madam Speaker, I now yield 2 minutes to the distinguished gentleman from Tennessee, a member of the Judiciary Committee, Mr. Cohen.
The gentleman from Tennessee is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Mr. Chair. Since the massacre in Newtown, Connecticut, about 10 years ago, we have not enacted any substantive firearm restrictions to prevent children from being slaughtered in our schools. In fact, not since the massacre of first graders and their educators at Sandy Hook, but in the 20 years since the shooting at Columbine, we have not enacted any new meaningful restrictions on firearms. We have an obligation to protect our constituents, and we have a responsibility to keep the American people safe. After each of these instances, we hear from our friends across the aisle that we must address mental health. I agree, but we must prevent those who are intent on harming themselves or others from having access to dangerous weapons and carrying out their intent. That is why I support this thoughtful proposal balancing public safety and the individual's right to due process. Let's just take the massacre in Uvalde. Should there have been a law in place in Texas, a red flag law, perhaps the gunman could have been stopped. There were plenty of warning signs, including the gunman with pictures of a cat he had killed and his frequent online threats to teen girls. As chairman of the Constitution Subcommittee, I take the Due Process Clause seriously. In this legislation, a court would need to make an individualized determination looking at specific facts before issuing an order. A full hearing is required in 72 hours, where the party can have personal attendance and object. This legislation is absolutely necessary, and I urge all my colleagues to support it. We have a moral obligation to act. Yesterday, this body, with a bipartisan vote, adopted the Protecting Our Kids Act, which would make meaningful updates to our nation's gun laws. We must go further, I believe, and enact assault weapons bans. These bills would make a meaningful difference in gun violence in the United States and save American lives. God would not look kindly upon the use of weapons to kill his children, as happened in Uvalde, Texas. Our votes are not political calculations, they are obligations. We have a duty to protect God's children. I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields. The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Madam Speaker, we yield a minute and a half to the gentlelady from Michigan, Ms. McClain.
Thank you, Madam
Speaker. The gentleman
is
recognized for a minute and a half.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think what we need, again, is a little truth, transparency, and consistency. And I'll share, as a mother of 4, I resent the fact that that you tell me that I don't care about children. In fact, when you have soft on crime policies, I need my Second Amendment right to protect my own children, because the soft on crime policies don't help. During these debates, these unconstitutional, the thing we all took an oath to uphold, the Democrats have been making the claim, well, if you can't buy alcohol or cigarettes, you shouldn't be able to buy an AR-15. All right, let's stick with that concept. Here's a concept, apply it throughout every form. But let's talk about a couple of things that the Democrats feel you are mature enough to do under the age of 18. So, because once again, their standards clearly aren't consistent. What a concept to be consistent. Democrats believe that under the age of 18, you should be able to get an abortion under the 18. And you know what, while you're at it, don't even talk to your parents about it. Under the age of 18, Democrats think you should be able to change your sex without notifying parents. At 18, you can vote. At 18, you can join the military and lay your life on the line for this country. And I bet they think that the 18-year-old Buffalo shooter is actually mature enough to be charged as an adult, right?
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
Let's have some consistency.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
Good job. Very good, Diane.
God, I just get so fired up.
Reserved.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from New York is recognized.
Madam Speaker, I now yield 1 minute to a member of the judiciary, the distinguished gentlelady from Pennsylvania, Ms. Dean.
The gentlewoman from Pennsylvania is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, do we not hear the cries of the fourth grader in Uvalde who said, "All of my friends are dead"? Would you like to do something about gun slaughter in this country? Then join us. One common sense way we can do this is by passing my friend and colleague, Congresswoman McBath's Federal Emergency Risk Protection Order, red flag laws. We know that 46% of shootings, the attacker expressed interest in harming others. There was a cry for help, a warning. Someone knew that violence could erupt. Someone had the ability to intervene. We have a responsibility to intervene. Rep. McBath's bill would do just that. Intervene when someone is a risk to themselves or others. We do not have to live this way, fearful for our children at school, at movies, the grocery store, or the TLA on South Street in Philadelphia. We do not have to live this way, and we don't want to. 79% of Americans support red flag laws. 67% of gun owners. Stop sentencing our children to all of their friends are dead.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
I yield back.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Madam Speaker, we yield 2 minutes to the gentleman from Ohio, Mr. Winstrup.
The gentleman from Ohio is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Next week will mark the 5 years since the fateful morning on the baseball field, where 136 rounds were fired in an attack on Republicans. Only by the grace of God were 20 or more of my Republican colleagues and staff not killed by a crazed terrorist wielding guns on that baseball field. So this is not a theoretical exercise for many of us on this side of the aisle. I say this not to take away from the tragedies that any one of us has experienced, but to highlight that good people on both sides of this issue can bring our personal experiences to the debate and may see things differently while both condemning violence and wanting to act. When I reflect on that day, it's not about the weapon, it's about the person, the evil person that is on the other side of that weapon. And it was guns that stopped that killer. 2 Capitol Police undercover that were only there because Steve Scalise was there, and he got hit. Otherwise, that terrorist could have easily assassinated 20 to 30 members of Congress and staff. Clearly, there are people I don't want to have a gun in their hands. But we can't ignore the hate, the evil that is gripping too many in our country today. We have laws against murder, yet we see murder. If my little daughter hits her big brother, I want to know why. I don't blame the stick in her hand. As a physician, Common sense tells me that if we don't look at the events in someone's life that lead to the thoughts and the feelings that then lead to this horrific, murderous behavior, then we are doing our society a grave injustice. And that's what's happening. We've seen this movie before. Do these laws change the disturbing trends that we're seeing? Previous bans have made no difference. It's been proven. Many of our communities have gun laws and have even more homicides than ever. We as Americans need to do some serious soul searching about ourselves because something serious has changed in our society over the last several decades. Is it the absence of God? We had a school, public school in my district that...
The gentleman's time has expired.
May I have 30 more seconds?
Give the gentleman additional 30 seconds.
We have a school in my district that was forced by the left and the courts to take down "Thou shalt not kill" from in front of the school. Thank you very much. Is it the breakdown of the family, the disruption of community, the implosion of the village, or is it the destruction of our mental health system, which unfortunately turned everyone onto the streets instead of reforming our institutions? It could be all these things and many more, but until America is willing to take a long, hard look at ourselves and heal what truly ails us, I fear we are simply doomed to repeat what we've done in the past, and we're doing it here today. I yield back.
The gentleman yields. The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from New York is recognized.
Madam Speaker, I now yield 2 minutes.
बाकी मोरा मनवा में ये बात लालसा पाठ कर वली घर धइले बानी कालसा बाकी मोरा मनवा में ये बात लालसा मैया के मनवा मोहेला चुनरिया लाले लाल हो मैया के मनवा मोहेला चुनरिया लाले लाल हो घुमा दे सैया घुमा दे सैया हमरा के कलकत्ता के पंडाल हो घुमा दे राजाऊ हमरा के कलकत्ता के पंडाल हो छोला खाइल जाई सेल्फी खिंचाई हो भर मिला हाथ धके साथ घूम जाई हो चाट छोला खाइल जाई सेल्फी खिंचाई हो भर मिला हाथ धके साथ घूम जाई हो पूजा के बेरा मंदिरिया को लागेला बड़ी कमाल हो पूजा के बेरा मंदिरिया को लागेला बड़ी कमाल हो घुमा दे राजाऊ हमरा के घुमा दे पियाऊ हमरा के माऊ के पंडाल हो घुमा दे सैया हमरा के बलिया के पंडाल हो लालू सोल्जर चली ना बहाना हर साल ले खायब की करी हो न माना पीएस लालू सोल्जर चली ना बहाना हो साल लेखा अब की करी हो न माना हो। मेला कुंवर कतिकवा में लागेला हर एक साल हो। मेला कुंवर कतिकवा में लागेला हर एक साल हो। घुमा दे पियऊ हमरा के, घुमा दे सैया हमरा के, और पटना के पंडाल